Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Bitcoin mania has gripped the country with people having more questions than answers. Is it a viable investment option? What is the government's position on it? And what are the risks involved? Through the day, we invited you, the viewer, to share your videos with us. Write to us. Now, we are going to play some of those videos. I'm really sorry, we wanted to accommodate many of them, but we are going to take a few of those videos and put your concerns to an expert panel to understand whether you should be investing in the Bitcoin or not. Remember, this is a very interesting story. We are breaking away from the traditional convention that most news channels follow. We feel this is an equally important story. The country is talking about it, and we need to address that concern right here. So, what are we discussing? The big question that we are asking or raising tonight on The Viewpoint, on the Friday edition of The Viewpoint, is Bitcoin the best investment today? We are going to have an expert panel: Manoj Nagpal, the CEO of Outlook Asia Capital; Arvind Gupta, BJP IT cell head, he will be joining us from Thailand; Charanjot Singh Nanda, he's a tax expert, he's also going to be with us; and we will have you, the viewer. All the videos that you have sent, we've been inundated with those videos. All those videos we are going to play out, and then we are going to take these questions directly to these Bitcoin gurus who will give you some sincere advice. Because I think for a medium which is new, it is very important for you to understand, because the government does not seem to be clarifying its position. It says that these are like Ponzi schemes. Are they Ponzi schemes? Then why are they not banned? So what is happening? What should you be knowing about Bitcoin? Will they be banned, or is this a Bitcoin bubble? All these things you will know through the course of the next 30 minutes. So while the Bitcoin boom continues in this country, the Indian government remains clueless on how to treat the cryptocurrency. Take a look at this. The government is still undecided whether to classify Bitcoin as a good, that is goods, as services, so that it becomes part of the goods and services tax, or is Bitcoin actually a currency? So right now, our Indian government is pondering, is confused, is thinking whether this is goods, services, or currency, and how the taxation system should be applied. Now, why is this significant? Because this classification will decide the tax rate that will be levied on Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin is considered a currency, there will be no tax on it. If Bitcoin is considered a service, it will be subject to 12% GST. If Bitcoin is considered to be goods, it will be subject to 18% of the goods and services tax, bringing the indirect tax department a revenue of a whopping 7,200 crore rupees. But there are still questions about whether the GST is applicable on the total revenue or the margin. So all these things are concerns, and also, will the government, by virtue of collecting tax, legitimize the indulgence of people in Bitcoins? In that case, if there are risks involved, will the government then just leave people with a warning, or will they actually take action and control their interests? So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the confusion, the concern in the minds of most Indians. Trust me, the new India, the new age Indian, is talking about this as his investment model. Now, Bitcoins and taxation in India. What exactly is this? Bitcoin investments, in fact, below 36 months, considered short-term capital assets. That is India's position as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Gains from the sales are taxed at slab rates. They have surcharge and then an education cess. In the US, what happens? Cryptocurrency is considered an individual property. That is how US is different in its taxation as far as India is concerned. We are still confused. US treats it as a property, individual property. Here are the taxation rates in the United States: 0%, 15% and 20%, depending on the tax bracket. How will that be defined? Depending on the number of Bitcoins you hold. That is US for you. Now, Cryptocurrency Fairness in Taxation Act, or CFTA, is presently being debated in the US Congress. So they are are slightly more advanced in trying to understand and decode the Bitcoin taxation conundrum. There is a bid to exempt all crypto transactions below $600 from taxation. Now, this is not the rule in India because our government is still trying to understand how to tax Bitcoins. Here is the United Kingdom. Tax on Bitcoin was repealed in 2014. That is the position as far as the United Kingdom is concerned. Now, most cryptocurrency transactions are exempt from VAT fees also. That is the value added tax fees also. There is a standard 20% tax for mining cryptocurrencies, which means if in the UK you indulge in Bitcoins, 20% tax slab, straight. No confusion whatsoever. Germany for you, no value added tax on cryptocurrency transactions. Japan for you, Bitcoin is considered a commodity there in Japan. 8% consumption tax was removed on the 1st of July 2017. Cryptocurrency users now pay a standard income tax, capital gains tax, and company tax. So this is the evolution of the taxation as far as Bitcoins are concerned all around the world. In Singapore, Bitcoin is considered goods, not currency, and similarly, there is a flat 7% tax on Bitcoin transactions. So keeping all these things in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very clear, keeping all these things in mind, that the government of India is trying to understand how to classify Bitcoins, goods, services, or currency, because the taxation system, as is being debated and discussed all around the world, some of the countries have had a sense of closure. People who are indulging in Bitcoin have a sense of closure. We here in India have no clue. We don't understand. And that is what has led to the confusion, but people are buying it. People consider this as a viable investment, and thus comes concerns and vulnerability. To talk more about this, I've got Manoj Nagpal. He's the CEO of Outlook Asia Capital. Arvind Gupta is going to join us. He's the BJP IT cell head. And Charanjot Singh Nanda, he's a chartered accountant and a tax expert who's also with us. Through the course of this broadcast, remember, as we just told you, Mr. Nagpal, you were with us yesterday also on our show. What we have done, Mr. Nagpal, is to accommodate the concerns of a lot of people. We have invited a lot of videos. We've been advertising it on our Twitter platform, and a lot of them have expressed their concern. They want solutions. They want to know certain things about Bitcoin. So I hope through the course of this broadcast, we'll be able to look into or address a few of those concerns. But first, I want to begin with you. If you could tell me, Mr. Nagpal, this enigma called Bitcoin and the confusion around it as far as taxation is concerned. How can the government deal with this? What is the best way to deal with this?
Yeah, the first thing the government needs to do is to identify, as you rightly said, what is Bitcoin and how will we treat Bitcoin as. So will we treat Bitcoin as a goods, services, or a payment mechanism? And if a person holds it, is it legal for him to hold it or not? At this point of time, the government is only saying that Bitcoin is not a legal tender. The government is still not saying whether it is illegal to hold it, whether it is illegal to buy it, whether it is illegal to transact with it. That primarily means that investors at this point of time who are holding it or want to buy it, there is no bar from the government to buy it. At the same point of time, government needs to lay out certain safeguards, regulations and clarity in taxation. If a person buys it and sells it, what will the government treat it as, rather than having the sword currently of income tax notices being sent to investors. So there should be more clarity both on the holding part of Bitcoins, transacting part of Bitcoins and the taxation of Bitcoins, which we need from the government.
Okay, and do you think that the government needs to do this sooner rather than later to avoid confusion? Because see, more and more people are joining in, and why just Bitcoin? I mean, all other cryptocurrencies, Ripple for instance is doing really well. This is being seen as a viable option or viable investment option as opposed to say gold or real estate, which is at an all-time low now. Do you think the sooner the government decides, the better?
So cryptocurrencies are going to be the future is our belief. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Ignoring them and not setting regulations only creates a Ponzi scheme or a, wherein investors can get defrauded. So having rules earlier than later is definitely the need of the hour. Recognizing that cryptocurrencies are here to stay for the next 50 years, 100 years is definitely a point that we should accept. Most of the countries across the world have accepted it, have given legality to the transactions, have clarified, and that is the direction we should move into it. The government has constituted a committee to look into it.
Yes.
And I hope the report
But see,
will
Mr.
be out
Nagpal,
soon.
the government has also called it a Ponzi scheme. It has equated or likened cryptocurrency to a Ponzi scheme. So that I don't think is the best approach, because basically you're asking all the investors to go fend for themselves. That you indulge in this, it's your own risk. Now, stay with us. I'll go to my other guest also, but before that, as we told you, the format, we're breaking the format of the show where we have invited you, the viewer, to come and participate and ask your questions directly to these two experts. So I have Gagan Agarwal, who sent us this message on Twitter. Let's play that out.
I am Gagan from NMS Bangalore. I have this question about bitcoins, that how do these currencies gain value when there's no backing as such as the government or gold or any other precious metal? So how do bitcoins gain such huge value? What is the reason behind them having values as big as 10,000 US dollars?
All right, so that is the view of Gagan Agarwal. That is the concern that he has. So any one of you, Charanjot Singh Nanda, would you want to address that concern?
Sir, yes, I would like to address this. Gagan has a very valid question. He understands that there is no underlying asset, and that is a pertinent question that comes to everybody's mind, that it is rising by leaps and bounds. And what is the underlying asset behind it? And this gives rise to one major suspicion that people think it may not be a bubble. People are not aware about what is the meaning of Bitcoin mining. They are not aware from where Bitcoins are coming and where they are sold. And more importantly, the government has also called it Ponzi scheme because it is not at all regulated. If I buy a Bitcoin, I am not able to I am not able to verify whether it is actual a Bitcoin or not. So this is creating confusion in minds of number of people, and India being predominantly a country where people are not much tech savvy, therefore confusion is standing. And largely the tax structures, whether the direct tax will be initiated, whether indirect tax will be initiated, whether you take it as a capital gain, whether you take it as a legal tender where no taxes are required. So there are a number of questions which are confronted, and people have no logical answers which are backed by regulation on this.
Okay, Mr. Nagpal, would you like to take that one? Would you like to respond to what Gagan asked?
Respond to this?
Yeah, so the main point Gagan was trying to ask us is, how does the Bitcoin derive its value? Bitcoins or any cryptocurrency are limited in terms of the amount of Bitcoins that will be issued. So for example, for Bitcoins, the total quantum that will be issued is 21 million Bitcoins. Out of this, 16.7 million Bitcoins have already been issued, and the amount of further Bitcoins that can be mined is going to be around 4.3 million Bitcoins. To mine a Bitcoin, one has to put in effort and computing processing power to solve the algorithms to get a Bitcoin. As the number of Bitcoins that are mined keep on increasing, the algorithm keeps on getting more complex. It requires more cost to derive a Bitcoin, and hence as the mining continues, the cost to mine a Bitcoin is going to increase, and that inherently puts in the value to a Bitcoin. So for example, the estimate to to mine the balance 4.5 million Bitcoins is that the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140, whereas the first 16.7 million Bitcoins got mined in the last 5 years. So you can see the difference, the amount of effort and the time that will require to mine further Bitcoins. Because of this, it creates a scarcity of Bitcoins, and because of that, the value of the Bitcoin keeps on increasing. That is how any cryptocurrency derives its value inherently.
Okay, I've got Arvind Gupta of the BJP IT cell also joining us. But Mr. Gupta, before you answer, maybe you can take a few more questions from the people who have actually sent us videos. I'm going to take another video and then I will come to Mr. Gupta. Ritam Goswami, let's take a look at the question.
Feasible do you think cryptocurrency will be in the long run, as no country will ever be collecting its taxes in Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency for that matter, and that's what assigns value to a currency. So will it lose its relevance as a currency per se and will just remain as an extremely volatile financial asset?
Okay, Mr. Gupta, Arvind Gupta, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, so let me first come in and clarify that I come in as the head of the Digital India Foundation today, and I'm speaking purely in that capacity.
Yes.
And I have been, I've been hearing Mr. Nagpal and Gagan and a lot of your viewers who've been commenting on this. I think there is a lot of fuel. The greed is the fuel of Bitcoin today, not anything else. I want to put that perspective. People unknowingly, and as Gagan said, are buying something called Bitcoin, which they really don't know what they're buying. Numerous cases of fraud are happening. And as far as the government's view has been concerned, I think there is a very clear advisory that the government of India, the finance ministry, has put out, saying Bitcoin akin to a digital pyramid Ponzi scheme. It is multi-level, marketing in its truest form.
Then why don't you ban it?
We're coming to that. I'm coming to that. It is the process of banning or unbanning a Bitcoin does not exist because it's a cryptocurrency. It's crypto in nature. And the fact that it is no longer a legal tender in India is clearly been advised in the advisory. Now, when people talk about Bitcoin, bit mining, and the effort that goes into it, I mean, there will be a lot of cryptocurrencies. There will be a new set of cryptocurrencies. There will be Ripple, somebody talked about. There will be Ethereum. There will be much more. So I really don't know, to answer your viewer's question, how does this hold value? To do one transaction today, not one mine, not one mining of one Bitcoin, but one transaction costs upwards of $7 or $8. How is it a currency of the future? It is not a currency. So I want to distinguish and use your platform to say, first of all, in my view, Bitcoin is not a currency. Okay. Bitcoin at best is a innovative use of blockchain technology to create a pyramid of in the digital finance world, and people are attributing a value to it. Imagine the volatility of this asset class or this currency, if you may call it. I mean, I don't call it a currency. Yesterday it was 20,000. Today it becomes 12,000.
Okay,
I mean,
Mr. Gupta.
Nobody can survive that.
Mr. Gupta, can I tell you something? Then in that case, it will be very important for you to go on speaking, and all our other panelists also, and take as many of these viewer concerns as possible. We've got another video, and I would request you to please listen to this and then respond. Bhuvan now sends us this video from Noida.
Hi, my name is Bhuvan Verma and I want to understand what is the sovereignty of Bitcoins.
That's an important question, and I want to take that to Mr. Nagpal. What is the sovereignty of this currency? That's the point that the government also is making.
So one of the things I clearly agree is that Bitcoin is not a currency. It's not a legal tender. At the same point of time, it is an accepted form of legal transaction in many of the countries across the world. So at best, a Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency is a form of a payment mechanism, or as some of the countries have accepted as an asset also. So for example, today on the Expedia global website, you can use Bitcoins to buy a flight ticket. You can go on Microsoft website, the official website, and buy Microsoft products. And there are so many popular places which are now accepting Bitcoins across the world. So if we say that within India we do not want to look at as a formal form of payment mechanism, then we should say holding Bitcoins is illegal, and we should indulge, rather than giving an advisory, we should just clearly say it is not a legal thing to do, and nobody should hold it also. As we said that
interesting,
the old notes are illegal and nobody should hold them. Similarly, we should, and because they cannot be used for any transaction.
Very significant.
So
Mr. Gupta, do you hear that? So the experts are essentially saying that you can't just stop. Our finance minister cannot just stop by saying that this is not legal tender. What about its illegality?
Well, the illegality comes from the fact that there is no KYC, the fact that there is no attribution to who holds it, who does not hold it. You supposedly hold a wallet which is completely encrypted and you have
no, but then it is encrypted. You go to any of these apps,
exactly.
And then
so
you
will
have to link your Aadhaar, you will have to link your bank account. All of that process happens, and your PAN card.
So Sanket, what you are saying is what I am saying is that today many people think they're holding bitcoins. In my opinion, they're not even holding bitcoins. I mean, I've been told multiple cases of fraud where people have sold some virtual address to people, and there is that is not even a bitcoin.
Okay.
So there is. I think. I mean, let me repeat for the benefit of your viewers that if you don't understand this asset class, this investment tool, do not invest in it. There's too much of volatility. There is a lot of...
No, but then do you think that by closing or shutting doors on Bitcoin, the government will be able to see, because the world over it is being embraced by many countries. So if this is going to be the Indian government's position...
You have to... You also have to understand, today there is Bitcoin, tomorrow there is Ripple, there is Ethereum, there will be X, Y, Z. You know, this is a blockchain-based technology. And when technology...
Okay.
You know,
one moment, Mr. Gupta. Let me quickly accommodate another viewer writes to us and also has sent us this video. Sangeeta now is speaking.
Instead of being plagued by fear, I trust the governments should approach this in a very positive manner and take it as an opportunity for innovation. Forward-thinking countries such as the UAE, for example, the Dubai, has come forward with the government's version of the cryptocurrency called the Mcash. It has been deployed with a capable technology partner. Now this Mcash is one way for the government to move forward with e-government service payments, be it for the taxes or be it for land record verifications. This is an instrument that is going to radically change the way the governments transact with their citizens.
Interesting. So, Mr. Nanda, Charanjot Nanda and then Mr. Gupta, do you think that this is the future, Mr. Nanda? This is the future? Basically, the government's version of a cryptocurrency.
I feel it is 100% the future. Sir, government has to bring out a regulation. We live in a contemporary world where we can't have our own set of rules. We have to ultimately embrace it. What I want to state is that time has come when clarity has to be made to the investing public. It is undoubtedly an asset class. People hold it. People hold old paintings. People hold certain pens of great importance, old watches. There is no listing of that. There is nothing which defines or values them. But in spite of them, that is sold in the market and people have a feeling that it holds value.
Okay.
So undoubtedly, without even a single iota of suspicion, they have value and people will keep on investing in it because there is a lot of volatility.
Okay, so the government has to do something.
For people. So
they
I
have
feel
to
government
move
should
beyond.
come with a regulation.
They have
yes,
to
sir,
do something, a regulation or perhaps their own cryptocurrency. But the last thing that the government should be doing is what it is doing right now by saying that we advise that you should stay away.
And last thing which I want to say, there has to be clarity on taxation aspects, which is very important.
Clarity on taxation, very, very significant. Mr. Gupta, Mr.
Taxation,
Nagpal, as well as Mr. Nanda.
We have to tax it.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Mr. Nanda, for joining us. That's a wrap in this edition. But we here on CNN News 18 are continuously going to talk about this new age tool that people are indulging in. People are talking about, people are investing. We cannot just shut our eyes. This is significant. And if the government feels that there are concerns, then let's address them. Thank you so much for watching The Viewpoint. Good night. Goodbye.